If you've ever blanked out during your IELTS speaking practice, not knowing what to say or how to say it, this video is for you. Today, we're breaking down one of the most common cue cards in IELTS speaking, describing a place you love visiting. We'll also tackle the tricky part 3 follow-up questions that come right after. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete Band 8 answer, powerful vocabulary, and the confidence to handle anything the examiner throws at you. Let's get into it. Here is your cue card. Describe a place you love visiting. You should say where it is, why you go there, what you do there, and explain why you love it. In the real exam, you get 1 minute to prepare. Use that minute wisely. Jot down 2 or 3 key ideas for each bullet point. Don't write full sentences, just trigger words that remind you what to say. Now, what is the examiner looking for in part 2? 3 things. Can you speak for the full 2 minutes without long pauses? Are you using rich and varied vocabulary? And are your sentences well structured and natural? Keep these 3 things in mind as you listen to today's sample answer. Now, listen carefully to this Band 8 answer.
So the place that immediately comes to mind, and honestly, I come back to this one every time I'm asked, is this small coastal town, maybe 2 hours from the city. You can drive or take the ferry, and actually, the ferry is the better option, just for the approach alone. And the thing about this place is, the moment you arrive, something shifts. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like the noise just stops. Not literally, but it feels completely removed from everything city life is. The pace just drops. I usually go during long weekends or, honestly, whenever work gets a bit much. It's become, I suppose ritual is the right word for it. My friends joke that when I go quiet for a few days, I've probably taken myself off there, which is not wrong. What I actually do there is remarkably simple. I walk along the shoreline, sometimes with a book, sometimes just watching the fishing boats come in with the morning catch. There's this local market near the beach, and the seafood there is, honestly, it's extraordinary in a way that's completely unpretentious. Nothing like what you'd get in the city. I make a point of eating there every single time, but what keeps drawing me back, and I've thought about this, is the atmosphere. There's a certain unhurried quality to life there that you just cannot replicate in a city. People seem genuinely content, not in a performing for Instagram kind of way, just actually content. Not rushing anywhere, not glued to their phones. And I find, which sounds a bit odd maybe, that my clearest thinking happens when I'm there. Like the combination of fresh air and that kind of simplicity just unlocks something in my mind that city life keeps permanently locked away. I can't fully explain it, but it's very real. It's not glamorous at all, to be honest. No 5-star anything. But it asks nothing of you except your presence. And for that reason, yeah, it genuinely restores me every single time I go.
Now let's go back through that answer and pull out the 8 phrases that made it work, with exactly how and when to use each one. 1. The moment you arrive, something shifts. This is a beautiful way to describe the feeling of arriving somewhere that affects you immediately. It's specific, it's sensory, and it avoids the overused phrase, I felt relaxed. Use it whenever you want to describe an instant atmosphere change. 2. Completely removed from everything city life is. This paints a vivid picture in just a few words. The examiner doesn't just hear that the place is different, they feel the contrast. Use it to describe any place or experience that feels worlds apart from everyday life. 3. I make a point of eating there every single time. This signals deliberate intention, that you actively choose to do something, not just out of habit. The phrase every single time adds emphasis naturally. Use it whenever you want to show that something matters enough to you that you never skip it. 4. An unhurried quality to life there. Notice this doesn't say slow or relaxed. It says unhurried. That one word choice elevates the entire sentence. Use it to describe any atmosphere that feels calm and unrushed without sounding basic. 5. Genuinely content. Not just happy, genuinely content. Adding genuinely before an adjective deepens the feeling and makes the language sound considered rather than automatic. Use it whenever you want to describe real, unperformed happiness. 6. Unlock something in my mind that city life keeps permanently locked away. This is extended metaphor, the same image used across two connected ideas. The city locks something away, the place unlocks it. It's elegant and it shows genuine command of the language. Use it when talking about creativity, clarity, or inspiration. 7. It asks nothing of you except your presence. A beautifully understated way to describe a place that is completely undemanding. The word accept is doing a lot of work here. It makes the sentence feel precise and intentional. Use it for any place or experience that lets you simply be. 8. It genuinely restores me every single time I go. Notice the word genuinely again. It removes any sense of exaggeration, and every single time creates a satisfying rhythm that closes the answer with confidence. Use this as your closing line whenever you want to leave a strong, warm, final impression on the examiner. Now, the examiner moves into part 3. This is where the conversation shifts. You are no longer talking about your personal experience. The examiner now wants your opinion on broader social themes related to the same topic. The questions are more abstract, more challenging, and require you to think on your feet. Let's go through 4 of the most likely Part 3 questions for this topic. Question 1. Do people today travel more than previous generations?
Undoubtedly, yes. And I think several factors have contributed to this shift. Budget airlines have made air travel accessible to people who would never have considered it a generation ago. On top of that, platforms like short-term rental apps have made accommodation far more affordable and flexible. But I think the deeper reason is cultural. Travel has become aspirational. Social media has turned it into something people actively pursue as part of their identity, not just an occasional luxury. That said, I do think there's a distinction between traveling more and traveling meaningfully. People might be taking more trips, but experiencing places less deeply than previous generations did.
Question 2. Why do people feel emotionally attached to certain places?
I think it comes down to memory and identity. Places become containers for our experiences. The home you grew up in, the street where you had your first real adventure, a city where something transformative happened. We don't just remember the place itself, we remember who we were when we were there. There's also something deeply sensory about it. A particular smell, a quality of light, the sound of a certain street that can transport you back instantly. Psychologists call this place attachment, and I believe it's one of the most underappreciated aspects of human emotional life.
Question 3. How has tourism changed cities and towns?
Tourism has had a profoundly mixed impact, I'd say. On one hand, it brings economic benefits, jobs, infrastructure investment, global visibility for local culture. But on the other hand, over-tourism has genuinely hollowed out some cities. When a neighborhood becomes primarily designed for visitors rather than residents, it loses its authenticity, the very thing that made it worth visiting in the first place. I think sustainable tourism, where visitor numbers are managed and local communities genuinely benefit, is the direction cities need to move in urgently.
Question 4. Should governments invest more in preserving historical places?
Absolutely. And I say that not just for sentimental reasons, but practical ones. Historical places are a society's living memory. They connect people to their roots, their culture, their collective identity. Once they're lost, they are gone permanently. There's also a strong economic argument. Well-preserved heritage sites drive tourism and generate revenue far beyond what the preservation costs. The challenge is prioritization. Governments often face competing demands for limited budgets. But I'd argue that investing in preservation is investing in a society's long-term sense of self. And that has a value that goes beyond economics.
Here are your 6 power phrases for Part 3 opinion questions. These work across almost any IELTS topic. 1. Undoubtedly, yes, and I think several factors have contributed to this. A confident, structured way to open any opinion answer. 2. That said, use this to introduce a counterpoint or nuance. It shows the examiner you can think in a balanced way. 3. I'd say, a natural conversational hedge, slightly softer than a direct statement, and it sounds fluent. 4. A profoundly mixed impact. Instead of saying good and bad effects, this sounds far more sophisticated. 5. The very thing that made it worth visiting in the first place. Perfect for arguments about authenticity, irony, or contradiction. 6. A value that goes beyond. Use this to elevate any argument. A value that goes beyond money, beyond economics, beyond numbers. Now it's your turn. Sharing you here a cue card which you can practice. Here's your cue card. You can pause the video and practice here itself. Describe a park or garden you enjoy visiting. You should say where it is, how often you go there, what you do there, and explain why you enjoy it. Speak for 2 full minutes. Use at least 4 phrases from today's vocabulary banks. Then come back and continue. And here is your Part 3 question. Do you think cities need more green spaces? Why or why not? Pause now. Take your time. Here's everything we covered today. For Part 2, structure your answer around all 4 bullet points, but make it flow like a natural conversation. Use vivid, descriptive language. Aim for the full 2 minutes. For Part 3, give your opinion confidently, support it with reasons and examples, and always add a nuance or counterpoint. That is what separates a Band 7 from a Band 8. Your power phrases for today: a personal reset button, genuinely content, profoundly mixed impact, that said, and a value that goes beyond. Download the free IELTS Band-Aid Phrase Bible. It has 300 phrases with 12 different sections. This will definitely help in your speaking test. With this, we come to an end to this video. See you around.